So tell us in the comments if you see anybody touch it.
So no running and no horseplay. There's going to be a lot of rocks around us, and it's really important that no one falls while we're down there. I'm not too worried about you guys. You seem kind of calm. Yeah.
Not as soon as I'm back.
Me?
What in the world? Starting over. Hi. No, I'm just kidding. This sign's a little more important. It says our cave is protected by Virginia state law. It basically means don't bring anything down there and leave it. Don't take anything from down there out. It protects the water, the wildlife, and the formations. Those are all things we're not allowed to touch. Also, please don't throw any coins in the water. It can actually really hurt our salamander population. But if you guys really want to throw coins, you can throw them in my pocket. Just messing with you guys. Right, so the first thing I'm going to tell you about the cave is this time of year there are no bats in our cave. They're only here in the winter. So this time of year they're flying around, eating bugs, not in the cave. So if anyone's nervous, that's a good thing. If you wanted to see bats, I'm sorry. Right? You guys ready to get going?
Yep.
All right. That was our man-made tunnel. It was dug out in 1976 and they didn't finish it until 1978. It is 550 feet long and it's a lot longer when you're walking uphill. Thank you. So the reason I stopped you guys here is because I have some cool formations I can show you that are only as old as this tunnel, so a little over 40 years old. So these little spikes up here are stalactites that are just starting out. Like I said, they're a little over 40 years old, so you can imagine the ones you see down in the cave are much older than these guys. And on the wall next to me, this is a flowstone formation. We do have a more developed one down in the cave you will be able to see, but the cool thing about this one is because it's in the tunnel and not in the cave, it's considered to be man-made. So because of that, if you want to, you are allowed to touch this one.
Go touch it.
You want to touch it?
You don't want to touch it? You're welcome. The tunnel is there. The way we get in and out of our cave is right up here. So this is the natural entrance to our caverns. From here, it's probably a 40 to 50 foot climb to the surface. That's why I don't see any light coming down from up there. So I'll meet you guys at the top. Just kidding. So this was discovered in the 1890s by two brothers who were about 16 years old at the time. So when they came down here, they were looking for gold, iron, something they could mine. When they didn't find anything like that, they actually decided to start preparing this cave for tours. So in the 1890s, they were thinking about doing this.
No, kidding.
So weird, right? Alright guys, so this is a flowstone formation. The one you touched in the tunnel will actually look like this one day. But the cool thing about this is it's actually the slowest forming formation we have in our caverns. This thing grows about a cubic inch every 400 years. So if you came down here in the 1600s, this rock would look about the same. One thing that would be different is this green color. That is cave moss. It's actually not native to our cave. The spores come in on people's clothes and around the lights it grows. But it's actually not all a bad thing because the wildlife down here love the cave moss. They're doing really well because they have something to eat on. So we leave our cave moss around.
That was another joke.
Huh?
That was another joke.
What?
The wildlife.
No, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Guys, so this is our colossal dome room. It is home to the largest formation we have in the caverns. Now this thing is cool because not only is it one of the largest, it's also one of the youngest. So that means it grows a lot faster than the other ones you see. This thing grows about a cubic inch every 100 years, and that is really fast for a rock.
4 times as fast.
So guys, they come up from the ground. They're called stalagmites. If they come down from the ceiling, they're called stalactites. And when they meet in the middle, they form a column. That's what you call them. You're all So if you guys, this is our mirror lake room. It's home to our reflective little pond here. Now what I think is cool about this is that there's no water flowing into it or out of it. Every drop of water has actually come through the earth and dripped off of this formation above it. So as fast as you see those drips coming down is as fast as it fills up. The only way water gets out of there is by evaporating into the air. So because of all of those things, it has a really high mineral concentrate, which sounds like a good thing. It's actually filled with a lot of magnesium. So if you drank this water, it would make you sick for sure. So don't drink it here. So this is what we call the abandoned tourist route. Now it sounds good, doesn't it? You want to go down there? Mm-hmm. So what this is, it was just part of the tour when we first opened up. They would take every group down there and do a cool light show, which would be fun. What happened was in the 80s, we had this big flood called the Flood of '85. If anyone's from nearby, you might have heard of it. It caused a clay slide down there, so now the floor is just clay, and underneath it is water, and it's prone to breaking. I'm sure to stay to the right. Alright guys, so in this room I do like to talk a little bit about limestone, which is exciting, right? So wherever there's a lot of limestone in the ground, there are typically caves. The reason that happens is because limestone can dissolve in water pretty easily. So wherever you see formations like these guys back here, or any of them really, it's typically made of limestone that has been dissolved in water. The water carries those little pieces of mineral down, and over time it just builds up and creates these formations. Now we do have different rocks in our cave, like this one above us here. This is what we call dolomite. Now something I learned recently is people take dolomite as a vitamin, which is kind of a fun fact. So this rock is a lot harder than limestone, so the water can't get through it. It just carries all the water away from here. So because this will never have a formation on it, if you guys want to, you are allowed to touch it. Also, if you want to take a look around this room, you can check out this room behind me here. Now there is a small step down, and it is slippery, so be sure to use your handrail if you go back there. Can you reach it up here?
Oh, it's up here too.
How does it feel like? That's what it should feel like.
Get Brooklyn, come back. Come back real quick.
I looked up and I was like, oh, shift all the way back here.
That this far underground we are. That's your step right there. You guys are gonna go up here.
Sorry, Mom.
No, I sleep there. It's slippery.
I don't like it.
We're still with plastics. Alright guys, so this room is really cool because it's completely different from the rest of the cave. You guys think you know what's missing from this room?
Water.
The things that jerk down.
Oh, we're correct. So there are no formations in this room because there is no water. Now there is some, just not enough. That's why you don't see any big formations around you. So the reason it's like that is because while it was forming, a lot of rocks fell in here. Like this one, and that one. Did you guys all see that?
Oh.
You should. So that weighs about 3,000 pounds, but don't worry guys, it's not going anywhere. And if it did, we could probably climb over it. It's not that big. All good. Now another rock that fell in here is actually the ceiling to this room. Now this rock fell on top of here like a lid, and that is made of dolomite, the rock I mentioned upstairs. So just like the one upstairs, the water can't get through it, just carries it all down here. Right where it ends, you can actually see the formations start up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why this room is so different, is this rock up here. Now another interesting thing is at the end of the hallway down there, the red light is a symbol of where in the 1890s the original exhibition into this cave ended. So they made it all. Another theory is that they just didn't want to work in the cave anymore and made it all up.
That sounds pretty
Yeah. We can't go back down, all our tools are back in there. So I'll let you guys decide what you think about the ghost story. Alright, we're going to turn the lights off in 3, 2, 1.
One, and this is the smallest cavern cave thingy that we've actually been to right now. But if you want to come here like we did, it's at Natural Bridge Cavern. Bye, make sure you like and subscribe. See ya.